Good morning, students. Today we will be starting a new chapter called biomolecules. Now, this chapter is taught after teaching organic compound, that means hydrocarbons, organic chemistry, some basic principles, alkanes, alkenes, alkynes, alcohols, phenols, ethers, aldehydes, ketones, amines, carboxylic acids, esters. After learning all these functional groups, then we learn biomolecules, because in biomolecules you will find that all these functional groups are into use. So what are biomolecules? You can easily make out from its name. Bio means living organism and molecules means the chemical compounds which are available in the living organism. Now the body is made up of various chemical compounds, like our muscles are made up of protein, our bones are made up of calcium phosphate and various other salts in it. Then there are collagen fibers which are also proteinaceous. Then fats, carbohydrates. Minerals are not biomolecules, alright, because they are inorganic in nature. So minerals are not biomolecules. Vitamins earlier used to be considered as vital amino acids, but later on it was found that there is no amino acid in vitamin. Now enzymes which helps us to complete the biochemical reaction faster, like say if in your stomach the HCl, that means pepsin, which is an enzyme which breaks the amino acids of protein, okay, is not available, or if it is secreted lesser in quantity, then what will happen? Digestion will not be complete. There are various respiratory enzymes like cytochrome A, cytochrome B. So if these enzymes will not be there, then the reaction of respiration will not take place as quickly as it is required. It will become slow. So as we age, what happens? The production of these biomolecules also become lesser. As a result, our physical activity also becomes slow. So you will learn about various physical activities and their relation with chemistry, that means biomolecules, in this chapter. As you see in the board, I have made a complete introductory mind map so that today I can clarify the meaning of each terms at first. Let us start with carbohydrate. So when you pronounce the word carbohydrate, that what you are saying carbon and hydrated carbon. That means a molecule which contains carbon and H2O in some proportion. Okay. So if you can recall the chemical formula of glucose, C6H12O6. This can also be written as C6H2O6. So you will see that in 6 carbon atoms, 6 water molecules are there. Although these are not the water molecules, but they seem to be in the form of water molecule. So since they have these units of H2O, n times of carbon, as many times of carbon will be there, that many times of H2O you will be finding in most of the carbohydrates. That is why carbohydrates are called as polyhydroxy aldehydes or ketones. Any carbohydrate, mostly the simpler one, the one which contains 1 unit of sugar molecule, like glucose. Glucose cannot be broken down into any further smaller sugar molecule, isn't it? That is why when you take glucose, glucose does not undergo digestion. It directly goes to our brain. It gets absorbed in the intestine and goes to our brain directly and gives quick energy to the whole body, isn't it? So glucose does not require digestion. But if you take sucrose is made up of glucose and fructose. So if you take sucrose, that means sugarcane juice or jaggery or any other carbohydrate which further breaks into sucrose, then it will undergo further breaking down into smaller molecule called as digestion process and will form glucose. Now this glucose will not be further digested because it is the simplest molecule which can be absorbed in the bloodstream. Now in the bloodstream it enters into the cell and undergoes combustion, or in terms of biology we can say respiration, to give carbon dioxide and water and energy. So each time we breathe in oxygen, the glucose molecule, they burn. Each time we take in oxygen, the glucose molecule burns and produces CO2, H2O and energy. So this kind of reactions are called as biochemical reactions, and it involves various enzymes in it. Alright, so enzymes are nothing but the biocatalysts. In surface chemistry and in P block elements, we had studied about catalysts. What are catalysts? Catalysts are those chemical substances or those substances which does not undergo chemical reaction themselves but provides a platform for the reactants to undergo reaction. So the glucose reacts with oxygen to form CO2 and H2O. This is one of the biochemical reaction. So let us quickly try to understand the crisp definition or the key word of the definition of each of these terms. So carbohydrate is nothing but polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketone. Why am I saying so? I can write glucose molecule to be an aldehyde, carbon, 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 carbon. How many carbons I have made? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then 6 carbon I will make. 1, 2, 3. Third carbon will have an OH this side, NH this side, OH, H, OH, OH, H, 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 H and OH. This is glucose. This contains aldehyde. This contains aldehyde and also various hydroxy groups. See, there are hydroxy groups, OH groups are there. That is why it is called as polyhydroxyaldehydes, and also it is called as ketones. Why is it called as ketones? Say in case of fructose, if I draw the structure of fructose, fructose is found in fruits. Then it will be CH2OH, then there will be one CO, carbonyl group, and then CHOH and CH2OH. Now, how many carbons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will make it twice. So this becomes fructose. So see, it is ketonic. And this is aldehydic. Alright, so we will see this in more detail. So a glucose molecule which cannot be digested any further, a sugar molecule which cannot be broken into or hydrolyzed into, any smaller sugar molecule are called as monosaccharides. Alright, so monosaccharides are like glucose, fructose, galactose, mannose, tallose. So I'll tell you about all these isomers of hexose, that means 6 carbon containing glucose, in our subsequent discussion. Oligosaccharides are the sugar molecules which when hydrolyzed gives 2 to 10 units of glucose molecules or sugar molecules. So around 10 units, up to 10 units of sugar molecules can be obtained by hydrolyzing oligosaccharides. And polysaccharides are the one which contains large chain of glucose molecules, like complex carbohydrates. In starch, we get in potato or we get in rice. So starch is an example of polysaccharide. Polysaccharides are polymeric saccharides. Okay, so they are polymers. Even cotton is also carbohydrate, isn't it? It is nothing but cellulose. Now, further in glucose, we have to study about the structure of glucose and fructose in detail. Okay, I have just given you a small introductory discussion there. So we have to study glucose and fructose in detail. Further, we have to study the reactions which prove that sugar or glucose has open chain, and we have to study that glucose has also closed chain, and how the open chain becomes closed chain. And when open chain becomes closed chain and closed chain becomes open chain, then how their structure changes. So we will study about mutarotation. That means change in the HOH, the orientation of H and OH at carbon atom number 1. So if I draw a glucose molecule in which say OH is in the right side and another molecule in which OH will be in the right side, in the left side, then if two glucose molecules differ in the orientation of the H and OH at carbon atom number 1, we call them as anomers. And such rotation is caused due to mutarotation. So I am not teaching this as of now, I am just introducing it, that these are the things which we have to study in this chapter. Parts of amino acids. Amino acids you might have studied in chapter amines, in which if any carboxylic acid or if any alkanoic acid is treated with ammonia, then water molecule comes out and an amide is formed. Derivatives of amino acids. Alright, so amino acids contain carboxylic group as well as amines. So this carboxylic group and the amines, they can come closer, and the amine of one molecule can condense with the OH of the other acid, and they can form amide. So in this way they can form peptide bond, and a long chain of peptides will form protein. Okay, so the synthesis of protein is further done with the help of DNA and messenger RNA. We will discuss about that too. Then enzymes, as we had studied earlier in surface chemistry, are nothing but the biocatalyst, and they have very specific nature. They work at a particular optimum temperature, they work at a particular pH, and they are specific towards substrate. A particular enzyme can only catalyze a particular reaction. They do not work on every reagent universally. So this we had studied. We had also studied its lock and key hypothesis, that enzyme first of all forms a complex with substrate. So it forms an ES, enzyme substrate complex, and after that it breaks into products. Alright, so this we had studied. We had also studied that enzymes has one active site and one inactive site. In the inactive site there are a few promoters in the form of vitamins which can help the amines, or which can help the enzymes to replenish or rejuvenate itself or regenerate itself or become a better enzyme after every reaction. It prevents the enzyme from its own wear and tear. Okay, so these are called as prosthetic groups or coenzymes. So they are mostly either minerals or vitamins which makes the enzymes work better. Next is nucleic acids. Nucleic acids commonly we know as DNA and RNA. That means deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. Now in this nucleic acid we name them as acid because it contains phosphate group. Okay. Now the phosphate group also has the 3H plus ion in the karyoplasm or nucleoplasm in equilibrium with the phosphate in the liquid which is available inside the nucleus. So due to the presence of this acidic radical, we call it as acid. Now this phosphate links with the ribose sugar, either oxyribose or deoxyribose sugar. Ribose means a 5 carbon atom containing sugar molecule. This is a 6 carbon atom containing sugar molecule. A 5 carbon atom containing sugar molecule will be called as a ribose, and they form a chain, phosphate sugar in the form of polymer. They form a chain. Now they form two strands of the chain, and between this chain there are nitrogenous bases like adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. Adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. Alright, so in short we call them as ATCG, adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. So this adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil, they can form hydrogen bond with themselves, and as a result the two strands which arrange themselves parallelly as well as spirally among themselves are stabilized due to this hydrogen bonding between them. So if you look into a DNA structure, you will find that there will be a spiral coil or two spiral coil, and these two spiral coils will be joined by a few lines. These lines are nothing but the hydrogen bond between the nitrogenous bases like adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil. All right. So why am I naming all these molecules? Because these terms will become familiar to you, and then learning this chapter in deeper manner in subsequent classes will become easier. Then in DNA and RNA, we have to study about their differences in structure, in molecular structure, as well as in their function. All right. That DNA contains deoxyribonucleic acid, so it contains the ribose sugar, which is devoid of one oxygen. It has one less oxygen as compared to the oxyribose. Then DNA is double stranded. RNA can be single stranded also. Then the difference in the nitrogenous bases is that in case of so instead of thymine, uracil is used. So in RNA, instead of thymine, uracil is the nitrogenous base. All right. So I'll be showing you these nitrogenous bases, how they form the bonds in the subsequent discussions. So as I have told you that in DNA and RNA, the differences are mainly in the type of ribose sugar and the nitrogenous bases. The difference in the RNA and DNA is in the type of ribose sugar they have. DNA has deoxyribose sugar, RNA has the ribose sugar which contains the oxygen. The normal ribose sugar is there, and in RNA, instead of thymine, uracil forms the hydrogen bond with adenosine. All right. So this is how the hydrogen bonds are formed, and due to the formation of this hydrogen bond, the two strands of sugar phosphate, they stabilize themselves. All right. So we'll study in this detail about the structure and the differences in the structure of RNA and DNA and their molecular structure also. All right. Then we will study about hormones. So hormones are what? Hormones, there cannot be one single definition for hormones, because every different hormone has different structure and function, but mostly the hormones are steroid derivatives like testosterone, progesterone. All right. So the fatty acids which we take, that contains the cholesterol, and cholesterol is also a kind of a steroid. With the help of this cholesterol and steroid, the hormones are produced. So there are various hormones in our body which controls our physiological action. So we'll be studying about a few hormones also in this chapter. All right. So the main points in which we will be discussing about will be carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, enzymes, nucleic acids, hormones, and in detail carbohydrates we have to study. All right. So this was just an introduction about the chapter. In this chapter will be finished in how many days? This chapter will be finished in say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 days. So it will be a 6 days chapter in which one day I will take for the carbohydrates to be completed. Next day I will tell you about protein, then vitamins, then enzymes, then nucleic acids, and then hormones in detail. So in next 6 days you will have command over this chapter, biomolecules. All right. Thank you.